On today's episode, we welcome Hawk Fan and Prasad Mujumdar, founder of Okahu AI. Both of you, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what's your guys' background and what got you to start this business?
So, okay, I'll take. I'm Prasad. I'm CTO and co-founder of Okahu. Uh, Spend a lot of time in the databases side and then data security governance. And last company that my co-founder started, we got acquired by Microsoft. And him, Hawk, we spent a lot of time learning about Microsoft's AI, and sort of that saw this as a good opportunity to start this Okahu about a couple of years ago. Hawk.
Yeah, so we basically the same old gang from a startup before this, and then 5 years at Microsoft. Actually, I spent 5 years Prasad, a little bit shorter than mine. But yeah, we pick up works around AIs along the way. We starting out with data governance. We do a lot of data enforcement, security stuff, and I focus a lot on early life adoption. So I deal with a lot of customer who actually have the problems that they need to solve ASAP, and I work closely with them. And so a lot of them are basically developers. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm basically the lead developer experience for Okahu.
So, you guys basically work with AI before AI kind of came the big words in the blog, kind of, or?
A little bit. I mean, we worked on the security and governance side and the Microsoft, and that's where we also got to see a lot of cool stuff Microsoft was doing on the AI side. And then, yeah, we started about close to 2.5 years ago and see how the landscape very quickly changed in that such a short period.
And how did that experience made you saw an angle to start your business as Okaho AI? I think to resolve some problem with AI. What did you guys saw from that to start this business?
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges I thought is people looking to build a lot of agentic applications, the AI based applications, and the biggest challenge is the non-deterministic nature of AI. So how do you make sure that what you're building, what you're seeing on your laptop, on your local environment, actually holds true all the way when you put it in production and open it to the real world use cases? So we thought that will be a challenge, and to see how we can tackle this. Hawk, would you like to add some?
Yeah. I started out. I mean, a lot of us spend a lot of time when the term like big data is still around with Hadoop and Spark, and so we did a lot of like machine learning stuff back in the day with EMC and Dell. And I did get my hands dirty on like very early stage of AI where people start to know about GitHub autocomplete. Like, okay, that's look kind of cool when GitHub know what you're gonna type next. you know, that was like pre GPT 3.5 kind of time frame, 4 or 5 years ago. And like I do a lot of crazy copy and paste, like from one Windows to another. Like that seemed to be the pattern that people starting out early to try to deal with like code chain kind of stuff. And then we run into issue where like Prasad mentioned, AI just doing weird things, and people just don't know like how it actually behave, because now there's a lot of like when you think about decouple architecture, you can have one AI talk to the other AI, and like they can do different things depends on what the instruction of the prompt look like. And that basically the whole core business that we going after. We try to understand how the brain of the AI works and try to explain it and try to fix it.
And did you guys saw that problem coming in like in the like a couple of years ago, like in the last year or so? Because like people are starting to use it more and more, and now they're starting to see all those errors or hallucination that the AI kind of can do. Or did you guys saw that even before it started to be super popular with small businesses and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for myself. I was one of the early victims of AI. Like, I try to use it, I test it internally and doing crazy things. And Like imagine there will be tons of people like me 5 years down the line from now, and imagine like AI has a larger capacity of before it, like the first time around it's handling only like 4,000 tokens. Now it's like a million tokens. So imagine things gonna grow in the same velocity. We need a way to understand how things works, and we need to understand how to really enforce and control hallucination and make sure there's a quality. Basically, the overall alignment of AI with human. Otherwise, like you're gonna see once in a while things pop up in the news like, hey, I'm trying to buy a car online, and then this, the bot sell a car for me for $1, right? I think that example like a few years ago. But there could be more of those things, and when it starts to get into like industry that really sensitive on decision making, like healthcare and defense, this kind of thing gonna be even more.
What about you, Prasad?
Yeah, I think that's a great summary, Hawk. Yeah, I would agree. And then when we started playing or seeing things and how Microsoft is using AI or looking to build it, it looks like it has a great promise and really going to be a real next big thing. And as you say, how do you make sure that how can you trust it? How can you make sure that its cost, its reliability, its accuracy, like the how it can handle the hallucinations. So a lot of those things are going to be, you can never test this in your lab environment. Monitoring observability for these type of application is a very, very important thing to see. You want to continuously see how your apps are doing, how your agents are behaving in the real world, and bring that learning back and continuously improve what you're building. I think we thought that's going to be a big challenge, and that's one of the reasons why we are looking to build this product to solve that.
And what's the usual issue with the AI hallucinating? Is it mostly just data that's getting fed to it, or where is it coming from? Is it the coding that's actually how it's built up? Like, what is it that can cause all that?
I guess one of the challenges, of course, the way the very nature of this is it's non-deterministic. How much data it's trained on and how much context that you're providing it, that makes things a lot harder. So if I'm building the application, I really have to see like, is this the right model for me? Is the prompt I am putting together to build my application context, is that the right one? And is it like covering like majority of the scenarios that my end users are going to try it out? So that is the biggest challenge. And then with the agentic world, now you're really marrying this to the real world application. So it's not only what I understand what's been asked, but I'm going to make a decision and try to execute that decision. So is that made correctly or not? Like, so those are really challenging things.
But is it
How would
always
you like to add?
Yeah. It's basically the context, right? Like if we talk about how AI get its knowledge, the 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 windows of the context get larger and larger. And imagine like you ask a questions, and then there's a process behind the scene, like search the internet for information, right? You never know what's coming back from that, right? And if the AI decide to say, "Hey, I'm gonna pick up on the first link on Google and just gonna parse that and execute something against it," like, 2 out of 10 times it's gonna mess up. So it's pretty unpredictable, and there has to be a way to make it more predictable. So like we have to know that the machine works the way human want it to be.
And did you guys find that solution? You just mentioned like how do you know it's actually working the way you want it to be? Like what's that kind of solution? Is it more a better prompt to what you kind of ask, or is it just a better LLM or a better AI that you create? Like what's that kind of solution?
Yeah.
Okay, no, go ahead, Hawk. Take the first
Yeah,
crack.
all of the above.
All
The
of them.
answer that people hate to hear, like it depends, and all the above, right? So it really depends on what you have in your architecture.
Mm.
How you do the prompt management, how you do the context engineering, how you adjust the data. We have case where customer have different database, and the agent reaching out to a database fail and come back with like, I don't have the answers, and the AI thought this is the right answers, and it's just like cascading hallucinating. So things can get really complicated. Um, And the model itself, like you can have foundation, the foundation model doing weird thing at 2 a.m. in the morning. Who knows? Like I don't know why GPT 5.3 just kind of mess up at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're doing some upgrade or something, and it to be honest, sometimes the model becomes stupid for no reason. We never know.
What about you, Prasad? What's your idea on that?
Yeah, so it's like, as I said, you continuously generate signals from your application and use those to validate, say in your development environment, you use those signals to assert a certain behavior that you're expecting. I ask a certain question, let's say I have a travel booking agent. I'll quote Hawk's favorite example is like, okay, book a room at the airport hotel. So is it going to actually do a flight booking or a hotel booking? So can I use that telemetry, that signals to validate the behavior post factor? Secondly, using another LLM as a judge for the evaluations of that whole conversation or the exchange that happened, like did the right set of tool got selected to do a certain action that I'm asking my app or my agent. So that's how we're looking to address that solution, that you generate the signals with least changes to your code, your application, use those signals in a variety of way to do the testing at your in your early stage, and then use them to do the evaluation, like ask a third LLM as a judge to validate if this conversation is correct or not. And then, of course, use human in the loop to see somebody can go post factor look at it and see if this is correct. And based on that, you decide like whether this is something has actually gone wrong, what has gone wrong, and how I can improve it. Whether should I change my code, should I change my prompt, or should I change my model? One of those three things needs to happen, and that we are trying to help people to come to that decision.
Is it always or most of the time like a human error where is the way it's set up or the automation or how they go and reach that database into the workflow? Is it that's kind of not properly set up for all the prompt to connect together, or it's mostly like sometimes more of a system where it's like the OpenAI that actually do something wrong, or what does it look like in your case study that you did?
I would say one of the big thing is like what, as Hawk mentioned, the context part of it. You set the right set of prompts and the right set of context, so you can help the model come up with the correct answer for that. The peripheral errors are generally not a big challenge. The biggest challenge is like is building your prompts correctly and your context correctly, and that is like becoming the biggest challenge of it. Hawk, what's your take?
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's what Okahu is trying to narrow it down, right? We are able to pinpoint to a specific place that you might want to take a look at, and that could be done like precisely, element adjust, or like there's some very specific deterministic error, then we can pinpoint like, okay, there's a token, like running out of the max token, right? And then it cut off things, and because it's cut off the important information, and now the model or the agent become hallucinating because it missed the information somewhere along the line, due to the fact that like it tried to ingest data from the internet or whatever, and it way too much, you know. So these are the type of thing that we identify and narrow down. And once you kind of have a very large area of where things may go wrong, then you can start to run more process behind the scene to like do LM as a judge or eval, and it gives you information to do something about it, like to remediate, to fix the code, to change the prompts, or even improve your agentic pattern. Like maybe this pattern doesn't work, maybe the other pattern works, right? So, yeah.
And how does Okahu AI does found that problem? Is it implemented into the workflow where the AI actually does it work? Does it go and think with the AI to see the answer? Like how does it manage to find those problems?
Yeah, we have two lines of code. Like you import our library, and you say initializing it, and basically it's so we have an open source called Monaco, and Monaco would instrument your code by looking at the important call to AI, to LLM. And once the LLM call being triggered, or the agent call being triggered, whatever that is, we capture that information in that particular step, and we laid it out in the format of like, this call first, this call later, and
Mm.
this is call next, without you like running, logger.info or whatever. Like you don't have to drop a bunch of log lines everywhere in the code. It's really polluting your code base, right? So 2 lines of code on the top, and then everything else being taken care. And you can save that information locally in your laptop if you do like a local development or like send it to the cloud. You can question against it. Like we have an AI behind the scene that actually check your AI, right?
Mm.
Like a police officer, I think of it that way. And if they go in haywire, we set a flag or a trigger process. This may get into the weeds of like how you set up the test and dev kind of thing, but everything could be automated. Like once you have the process of how to capture the important information, you can have the entire loop of like, I'm doing something, things go wrong. I know exactly what's wrong. Let's fix let automatically fix the thing and then get it redeploy or like, upload into the production environment. So that whole thing could go as a loop. And that's a critical part where we play. Like we try to help you to automatically fix things and make your life simpler and make your AI agent more reliable in production.
And do you need a human in the loop to go and fix those codes, or does the AI from Okahu actually repair what's wrong, or the solution is there? Does it do it themselves, or is there someone that needs to come in and actually fix something?
To be honest, there's always a human in the loops for everything. Like there's no machine out there that can run by itself forever. Okaho provides a lot of intelligence to help the human to accelerate that process. You may just have to click a button and say, approve this PR request or whatever. Or you may have to read a long report on like we have an agent called the Kahu agent. And this agent basically analyzes the trades, comparing again different time frame. And it can tell you like what happens in the past 7 days, let's say, right? And let's give you a summary. And that summary could be pretty useful for like a DevOps person or like a QA person or like an app owner. They can look at it and they can determine like, yeah, my AI is not working because of X, Y, and Z. Like it gives them some more information instead of like going to the logs and access the database at the back end and try to figure out where's the API call failure and stuff like that. Like that is the thing of the past, right? Yeah.
So it's saving time, basically. That's what it's actually offering. But it still need the human to actually go and fix. So it's not like you hear everyone saying like, "Oh, AI is gonna take all our jobs. Like humans not gonna be used
Yeah, we can
anymore."
try to sell
For
that
now.
future. Eventually it will come, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, not yet. So what's all your mindset about that, Prasad, that we just talked about?
No, I'm still of the belief that this is like uh, a car that making you a lot easier to run, but you're still on the driver's seat. It's making a lot easier to take your lot of manual steps away, and we see that like especially in the field of code generation, that does make a significant difference. The kind of tools that are available that we are using for our own development process, as well as we are helping other people manage their tools, it made a significant difference. But yeah, it's really that human in the loop, your job, I mean, your job more efficient. A lot of mundane things that you need to do can be done very quickly and very efficiently, and makes that you give you a lot better decision power, so you can take those execute those actions better. That's really how I'm seeing it yet. Well, maybe another 3 years, who knows, somebody will come and say there is an AGI that is a true replacement, but at least at the moment, that's what
Yeah.
my take is.
Yeah, we see a lot of like open claw thing on the internet these days. Like you try to do things automatically by like, taking over your mailbox and stuff like that. Yeah, in some sense, yes, but it's not fully automated. Like it will break and drop, once in a while. Like our job is to get us there to the point where we freely let go of the steering wheel and let the car to drive by itself. We will get there at some point. I believe that. Right now we're gonna we try to help human to spend less time on doing things that
Mhm.
not productive and repetitive.
From maybe what you saw in your experience, maybe with Microsoft, all the AIs that you're working with, I think you guys are even in San Francisco, so you basically see all of the tech going on. Do you guys think like all that automatization thing is happening maybe faster than we think, or is it going to be a bit later? So is it 5, 10 years, or maybe more like 1 to 3 years where it's going to be all by itself, basically, from what you guys think?
I would say the biggest impact I have seen is on the actually on the tech side, the kind of tools that people have for building software that has improved quite a bit. Very huge impact. The others are, I think, maybe a little far behind. I think the code generation agents are really the one that have grown quite significantly in last say year or so. And as you can see, the Anthropic is sponsoring Super Bowl ads, right? It's a clear indication of how well that sector has advanced. The other ones, I think, the challenge, I guess, is still the non-deterministic nature, and how much can you trust the AI to make all your decisions, like say in the medical field, for example, like how much of that is helping you and how much of that can be automated. That's really my take. Is at least at this point, the techs where the things have made a lot of progress. I guess the people who building it see that as a problem and they know the solution. The other fields, I would think, are still behind.
Hmm. What about you, Hawk? What's
Yeah,
your idea on that?
yeah. I think it's just like anything else. It's gonna be use case by use case. So imagine, back in the 60s, 70s, and we have like people who work their job as a telephone switcher. Like, you call a number and they connect the actual connector to a line. That job is gone, right? So, but there's still people work in telephone company. So like they move and things change and paradigm shift. Back in the day, people would write HTML in like Notepad. Now, well, they don't do that anymore. So same thing with like documentation writing. Like when Prasad and I at Microsoft, we PM, but we write docs in Markdown. Now, like I don't even write docs anymore. I just point it to my source code, and it would generate a whole MD file for me. You know, I still have to read though, but like most of the time that I spend is like doing productive thing. So it's, like I say, it's use case by use case. First thing you're gonna let go of the wheel, but you still have to sit there and look. Next time you probably don't have to look, but you still have to be, like you have to be nearby the steering wheel. So in case you have to step on the brake pedal, you have to step on it, right? So easy use case gonna be going away. Like no human gonna be involved in that anymore. Like chatbot. Yeah, like you go to the website, you buy stuff, and the chatbot answer a question about a product. That like the human behind that will start going away.
Yeah.
But like things in the medical field, like Prasad mentioned, or like Department of Defense, things that are really critical to human life, we have to put more control around it, and that may last long. Like there's still gonna be human on those things maybe forever, but they're gonna be using AI tool behind the scene, right?
Mm.
To make the job more efficient and better.
But I think, like you just mentioned, it's gonna stay as a tool for the human to actually just perform better instead of actually just replacing everything and just do it all by itself. For now, from what we're seeing as of now. So coming back on maybe all the AI agents we talked about the one that hallucinate, the one that doesn't make what you guys want to do. So what's a realistic AI agent that a business should use to actually grow faster and actually go into having a better operation from what you guys saw in your experience?
No, go ahead, Ak, if
Yeah,
you want to take.
yeah, like internal tools. I see that as the number one adoption. Like Claude codes, the Claude CLI for engineering efficiency, like thing that being used internally to help people to do their job better. So instead of like a 1x engineer, now they're 10x engineer. They're doing the job of 10 people, right? Um, Internal self-help, like I see the use case a lot where, and this is where Copilot actually help a lot too. Like you dropping a bot, and then the bot point to a bunch of documentation, things in SharePoint, no, kind of low code and no code kind of approach. And we also see this in like small business, the kind of business that have 5 to 10 people. They don't want to develop anything. They just want to use a tool, drop in and point to the existing PDF and answer the question. Um, and it's easy to use, easy to adopt because like if the bot says something wrong, the employee still know how to fact check. Not like for external customer, then it had to be more critical when the bot may say something like, "Hey, I'm okay to sell the car for $1," right? So this kind of case, it's more sensitive. Like think that if it fail and it's okay, then those use cases tend to get adopted a lot faster. Think that if it fail and I'm gonna lose $1 million, yeah, I'm gonna hold on that for a little bit there.
What about you, Prasad?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like the code generation tools is really what I'm seeing is getting a lot of traction. People are using it, whether you are a large tech company or by another mid-sized company that has internal, tech or IT. People are using that quite a bit, and like the people that we work with, the people that we are friends with, like everyone is seeing that, and it's kind of a top-down push, not just the bottom up. It's the management understands what impact it's making, and it's like a strong encouragement. Yesterday we were talking to somebody who was part of a large Fortune 500 company, and he was telling us that their CTO came in and they previously had limits on how much tokens you can use for a given duration per department. He came out and said, no limit, just go adopt it and see how useful it is. We'll worry about the cost later. That's the that's what really making the impact on the tech side of it.
Mm-hmm.
uh the other ones, as Hawk said, it's slowly use case by use case, but I think this is the one that's probably advanced quite a bit.
And do you see those guys more using private LLMs or doing private AI on their part with their own database and their own everything to make sure it's not just going anywhere and giving any answer that you don't really want? Or are they still using like maybe some public LLM like Claude or ChatGPT or anything of them?
I would say the most people we have seen or worked with are using foundational models. They might be doing a little bit of tuning of their own, but not like building their own models from scratch. Their efforts is more like one, it's just how to consume it in a very simplistic way, like using a chat GPT or Cloud, or building an application that leverages these models to get the answers and make them actionable as an agent. I don't know how you have
Yeah, same.
different.
Um, like for internal use, like a lot of company actually now okay to use the foundational model, and they go straight to the Anthropic or like
Huh.
OpenAI or Microsoft or AWS, Google. Building a custom model is very hard to do, and this really depends on what it is. Of course, if you're running a division that control a nuclear missile, then yeah, you have to build your
Yeah.
yeah, LLM right there. But like for things that you don't care much about the cost between $50,000 and 100K, like they're okay to spend the money to make sure things are high quality. Only when it's coming down to like security concern, privacy, compliance, cost is a big problem, but it's not really that big of a problem, you know. And for security compliance and other things, data governance, organizations okay, or they are more comfortable now when work with to work with like the big guys like Microsoft, AWS, and Google.
I'm surprised to hear that because I did have some conversation with like cybersecurity guys talking about maybe more small businesses or medium or something like that, and it's like if they use public and they can put like the thing that you're not supposed to put on any public LLMs where the cybersecurity can get maybe hacked and that all that information can be taken on, then they go more into that private LLM to make sure it's more secure on their part. So I'm surprised that those big businesses just go right for the public and maybe do their own barrier with it. So I'm kind of surprised to hear that on your part.
So a lot of, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I guess the clarification then I would say it's not. I mean, there are two parts, right? Are you taking a model that's built by somebody publicly available, and secondly, where are you hosting it? And I think those are two different aspect of it. And I would say you're right on that part. Is like people, a lot of people are not open to, let's say, directly using an externally service like say OpenAI, for example, and you want to send your sensitive data to their external model to get the answers. So they are hosting the models sort of in their more private boundaries, like in your own private cloud, but not necessarily building their own models. They're taking the off-the-shelf model and maybe hosting them in a more private, secure thing. The
Understand?
the whole openness of the model is a very different thing. Like somebody else has trained that model, what kind of weights they're using, what kind of data that was used to train, and how its behavior is going to be. But whether that itself is a concern is a second problem, as opposed to the first part you said, like, am I sending my data outside of my governance boundary? And that part is yes, like most enterprises will be hosting the model inside their
Mm-hmm.
own private clouds,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily building them from the scratch for their use cases.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree.
Surprising. Okay. I thought that that could just be because they have all the money. So I was like in my head, if they have more money, then they can just go and concentrate on building kind of their own a little bit. So that's why I'm kind of surprised to hear all of that. So coming back to your business, it's been 2 years ago I started the Okahu AI.
About 2.5 years ago, that when we started thinking of the idea, it's about last, I would say, year and a half where we are like actively building the product now.
How does it work for a business that get funded? I think it's the first business I talk with that actually get funded for the actually building everything. How does that work? Finding all those that person to actually fund the project and basically build all of that. How does that work?
You mean how easy or hard it was to sort of raise money as a venture
Yeah,
funded company?
probably hard. I assume hard. Like I don't know how it is for you guys, how it was and everything.
Yes. I mean, I would say one, my co-founder, his second company, or technically third company. So uh, that adds a lot of credibility to, be going out and raising money. Uh, and it varies. I mean, we were kind of in the little bit early of the AI hype. Uh, People, I mean, we were able to convince people, like, as a really small startup company, what VCs will be looking at is like, is this a real problem that's gonna be a big market, and is the founding team is capable of like taking this and navigating through the early challenges. So yeah, I mean, you would see like there's so many AI companies that have been founded and funded. So yeah, that's, I mean, of course, getting a early funding is always a challenge, but being an AI company, at least when we were raising, was relatively easier than, let's say, being a traditional, more database software company.
For sure. And is that hype still a thing now, or is it kind of harder now to get funded for AI? Because I assume like a year or two ago, you just say AI and everyone will just pitch money to it and try to make it work. But now that people kind of maybe experience a little bit and tried some ideas that didn't work, is it a bit harder to actually explain the business model to people and make sure that it's actually a good idea and not just a idea of AI?
I would say that was always the case. The landscape has changed quite a bit. Something that you pitched maybe 2 years ago might not be a valid a problem altogether. And of course, the macroeconomic conditions have changed quite a bit, so that would obviously impact. But I think this is still a field where there's a lot of innovation coming in, and there's a lot of scope for new ideas.
What about you, Alkit? What's your idea on all of that?
Yeah, I joined the company a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with everything Prasad say. And plus, the code gen aspect of AI make things a lot easier now for like small company or like a small group of people. Imagine you're in the mid 20 in San Francisco basement. Like you can use code gen and do a lot of prototype and testing out. You go to a coffee shop and you meet people and there we go. Some customer. It's like it's crazy. Uh, so I think moving fast and the one that have relationship, have credibility, have a good products, tend to move faster.
Yeah, and I assume I'm just going on a tangent right now, but how did you guys manage all that change of technology from like 1990 to now? Like how do you get on top of everything that because it's like so much. I'm like 30 years old. I saw a little bit of it, but it's like every 6 months AI is a new thing, and then internet in the time was kind of new. Now people are talking about data, which is like, oh, it's new, it's 2 year old, but AI is the new thing now. So how do you manage all of those new tech just coming in every couple of years now?
Okay, I guess I'm older, so I'll take that first. uh,
Yeah, I read fast.
I read fast.
But like, um, I do
I would
monitor
say with
the
my
yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead,
sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, no. I like one thing is I monitor the trends and the news a lot to
Yeah.
see where things going out there. We have a lot of connection to the tech community. So think that basically like we already have a network of people back in the thing that we don't know much about or like know late, right? And
Yeah.
Prasadam in particular, basically in the Bay Area. So you could literally walk into any coffee shop in San Francisco and like all of them are doing startup. It's crazy.
Hmm. Is it more than, because how long have you guys been in San Francisco? Like 10, 15 years?
Yeah, about 20 for me.
20 for you? Is that number of startup exploded in the last couple, like 5 years or so because of AI?
Uh, Probably yes. Uh, so I would say like you asked about like how the technology is changing. So one of the biggest change I'm seeing is like so far it's like more of what you're building that has been evolving. Like what are the external use cases that you're trying to solve? But I think for last year or so or more, what I'm seeing is really not just what you're building, but even how you're building has very, very significantly changed in a very small time. Let's say the public cloud was a big thing maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago. If you're starting a company, there's a lot of infrastructure cost. You have to rent a space, you have to buy a lot of machines,
Yeah.
manage all them.
Yeah.
With public cloud, that changed quite a bit. So if you're building something, that was a big change. How that infrastructure makes it a lot easier. At the time it took like almost maybe a decade for this paradigm shift to happen, compared to now it's like within 6 months to a year. How you're building for if you're a software engineer, like how you're building your application, the speed at which it is changing is quite breathtaking. I mean that I would say it's for with all my years of experience, what I'm seeing is like how I'm doing things and how my team is building things and how I want to coach them to use these new things is pretty fast. It's a significantly changed compared to anything else in past.
Hmm. So coming back to your business, what have been working well for the business in the past 2 years that you guys started?
I would say now it's like the back then like a lot of people were in a very early experimenting mode. Very few people were like truly in production where their app is like really consumed by their end users and either generating revenue or making an impact. A lot of people in the very early experimental stage. It has changed quite a bit. Now we're seeing that it is becoming more and more mainstream. People are actually starting to use that. I mean, it's still not. I mean, compared to the hype, it is still a lot of that. The actual usage is in the sort of early prototype stage, but that has gone up quite a bit, and the number of people are now experimenting it, trying it has gone quite significantly bigger. The challenge is still there, like for a business leader, do you really want to trust and make a big bet of against all the hallucination or the non-deterministic nature of this technology? That is slowly changing. But the biggest change I would say like 2 years ago was people were really in the experimenting mode on an enterprise side. Only the very top tech companies were really doing things in the production.
Hmm.
That is now I think getting slightly that has gone further ahead.
Hmm. And what are the challenges for from the business right now? As maybe you just mentioned those new AI coming in. Is there like a challenge towards that to maybe find those new clients, or what does it look like?
For us, I mean, yeah, it's I would say one is like the technology is still in terms of the actual traction people are deploying it's still new. So the kind of problems, the more finer use cases are still like evolving. The field is changing quite a bit. So that is always one of the challenge. There are like so many new technology components that are coming up every day, and for us, like that's one of the challenge for us is like, okay, we want to support everything, so we just have to keep catching up on that. I don't know, Hug, feel free to add.
Yeah, things moving fast, and we either be in front of it or like catching it up. Like a year or two ago, we kind of think, well, maybe we do an extension in VS Code, and then yeah, Cursor has a lot of adoptions, and then we do extension for cursors, and like in the last, I would say 3 to 4 months, like Claw is everywhere, and people just drop the ID and just start spinning up like 8 windows of Claw overnight. Wake up in the morning with the feature done. Like thing is changing fast. Like the adoption, the behavior, the habits change. Literally overnight for a lot of people. And we had to be like front and center. We either had to follow it, or we had to be really clear about our messaging that we are here to help you to bring your app to production, and we make sure it works. And that thing has never changed. Like that statement never changed for any company.
And how do you guys stay ahead of that? Is it just by your network and people you know, and you kind of try to follow the news? But like you just mentioned, sometimes it just pop out of nowhere. So how do you guys stay ahead of that?
Some of it we just ignore.
Okay.
Like frankly, I test around OpenClaw, and yeah, it works in some case. In some case, like it's just noise. Some of it we think it actually has some value. Like I'm starting to do a lot of prototype with Claw COI these days, and it does work in a sense. So we have to like sift out what works, what's not, what is true, what's not true, and like I had to learn upfront. As a person who worked closely with developer, like frankly, I had to be kind of on pair with whoever is the top, 5, top 10% out there. So I need to know what they like, what they are thinking, or where they're heading, in order to help them or like educate them or like give them advice. Otherwise, we cannot really be front and center and be in the leadership role, where we actually help to like, or we teach people how to bring the app into production, right?
So what's the big vision of the next year for you guys? Looking for a 6 to 12 month goal or even more?
uh I would say in terms of the breadth, we think we have a good solution that addresses a specific problem. So we just like going out and reaching out to more enterprises and help them adopt to this and see how much of this is solving their use cases, learn from that, and continue to iterate on that. So I think the agent technology is one of the big thing right now, and that's what a lot of people are trying to adopt, and that's the main our goal is to address uh, that problem statement, how to make your agents better, how to make them take them from your lab prototype to production and continue to operate it, support it, and make it better in the production. So that's what we are trying. That's like I would say in like 6 months, yeah, that's what we think is like more people adopt to that product, and we learn more on the use cases than just the technology part.
So do you approve all of that, Ark? What do you think about all of that?
Right. um, there's a lot of prototypes out there, right? There's a lot of people who like, hey, I have an idea. Let's go ahead and do something about it. Not many of them actually go to production. That's like there's some, bottlenecks going to production. Either the top down say, hey, we don't have money for that, go away, or like, yeah, your stuff don't work, right? And it's not reliable. I test out 10 prompts, and they all respond weird thing. So we help those people to make sure their apps, or agentic model has some value, and surface the values and prove the value, right? So that's always a constant challenge. Some research from MIT some time back, like there's, I think more than 90% of the AI app actually not going to production. There's still a lot of, like, think of this as like an iceberg. Like we only see the top of it. There's still a lot of them on the bottom that need to, get pushed up, floating up. on the top and be out there front and center. And something had to help them. Like there had to be something that helped them to kind of cross the chasm, right? And reliability and hallucinations, bugs in production, those are still the top challenge.
Hmm. And do you see all those prototypes being built up from like vibe coding? Because like now vibe coding is like everywhere and kind of everyone try it and try to build something with that. Is that one of the reasons that there's so many prototypes now?
Uh, so like people think of vibe coding as like a bad word where you say, hey, you don't know how to write code and you just kind of do stuff. I don't think there's gonna be a gray area where vibe code actually has better quality than code written by human.
Hmm.
Um, and there will be a lot more of those cases over time. I call them like vibe engineering because you do know what you're writing and building and architecture. Like you do know how that works. You just don't have time to write a bunch of if and then statement and case and do this write like actually typing on the keyboard. But you know the abstraction, right? So for those people, they will move fast. They move way faster than what they used to do, and so like those are the ones that are going to be frontier. If you think of the example on OpenClaw again, it's a lot of that by code. Mass security, it's horrible. But then the use case is valid, right? So once you have the use case, once you have the value proven, our security will be solved. And we are actually helping in terms of that. Like we figure out where things go wrong, we figure out where things get unreliable, we figure out where your test fail, we figure out where things get hallucinated, and we surface that information up. So make sure you have a checkbox. Like if X, Y, and Z checks, then you're good. So yeah.
I like that. So I can Prasad, I appreciate the conversation. Really enjoyed it. I think I hope you guys really enjoyed it too.